A Swedish mother's successful stand against sugar has turned her into a social media sensation. Anna Larsson decided to cut out sweet treats after realizing how bad her young daughter's cravings had become. The results shocked her. After a difficult few days, the little girl was no longer asking for yogurts and iced buns, but happily consumed healthy options she would once have rejected. What's more, she was sleeping better and was less grumpy. Amazed, Mrs. Larsson, 38, took to Facebook to share her experience in a post which has since been liked more than 2,400 times. "I was in shock at the response," Mrs. Larsson told the BBC. "I really don't know why it happened. We know it is bad to give a lot of sugar to kids, or to anyone, so it is not news. I think I got this result with my story because I am just a normal person, and not a doctor or nutritionist." Mrs. Larsson decided to start cutting sugar out after her 4-year-old daughter, who she is choosing not to name publicly, had a tantrum when she refused sweets. She said, "It seems like I am never going to have it again," Mrs. Larsson, a former journalist who works in physiotherapy, recalled. "I thought, she has real cravings for sugar. She did not want to eat the food we are making, all she wants to eat are things like sweet yogurts." How addictive is sugar? Within days of making the decision to cut down on sugary treats, the difference was clear. She was calming down so quickly, falling asleep so quickly in the evenings, and she did not want to look at the television all the time. She wanted to do things. However, while it is widely believed that sugar can affect behavior, there is little scientific evidence to back this up. How much sugar should we eat? Age 2, under 13 grams or 1 to 3 teaspoons per day. Age 3, under 15 grams or 2 to 4 teaspoons per day. Age 4 to 6, under 19 grams or 3 to 5 teaspoons per day. Age 7 to 10 years, under 24 grams or 4 to 6 teaspoons per day. Age 11 and over, under 30 grams or 5 to 7 teaspoons per day. Food which had been rejected by Mrs. Larsson's daughter a week ago was now being described as the best ever. Her taste buds were like new, said Mrs. Larsson, who was so surprised by the results she decided to share them online. It seems to have struck a chord with hundreds of other parents. Since then, she has written articles for national newspaper Aftonbladet, and has appeared on television. But not everyone has been so impressed. "Some people think it is extreme, but I have never said you cannot eat sugar. We do eat sugar, but you cannot eat it every day." Mrs. Larsson is now calling on other parents who are concerned to follow in her footsteps. If your kid has this total craving for sugar, then they need help. The kid cannot do it themselves, it is up to us parents, she said. We cannot give them sugary treats just because we want them to be quiet in the store. Do Swedish children have a problem with sugar? Sweden has one of the lower rates of diabetes and overweight children in Europe. In 2015, the International Diabetes Federation reported a 4.69% prevalence of diabetes in the country, slightly lower than neighboring Norway and far lower than Europe's worst offender, Turkey, which has a 14.85% prevalence. Meanwhile, a report by the World Health Organization, WHO, put the number of overweight 7-year-olds in Sweden during 2007 at 23.5% for boys and 22% for girls, with 6.8% and 5.1%, respectively, being obese. In comparison, Ireland, which has one of the highest rates of childhood obesity in Europe, reported 31.8% of boys and 27.3% of girls were overweight at the same age. However, experts are still calling for more to be put into education and health campaigns in Sweden.